8 most devastating attacks ever. Number 8 is the Komodo dragon. A classic tale of he said, she said. The result was that Phil Bronstein, editor of the Chronicle and at the time partner of actress Sharon Stone, ended up having his big toe bitten by a Komodo dragon. While no one is sure why the Komodo decided to bite Mr. Bronstein that day at the Los Angeles Zoo, the fact that he should never have been in the enclosure of a 55-pound monitor to start with. So here are the facts. It was Phil Bronstein, Chronicle editor. The animal involved was the Komodo dragon, also known as the Venus comonesis, dated June 2001 in the Los Angeles Zoo, California. Why? Well, not respecting the Komodo dragon's space. And the type of attack obviously was just a bite to a shoeless big toe. Yes, the person did survive, but I'm not sure about his pride. Snapping in at number 7 is the alligator. A tragic case where a 12-year-old boy decided to go swimming in a location that was known to have alligators. Despite warnings from his friends, he chose to pull away from them and he just wanted to go swimming. Unfortunately, he was swimming in the evening, a natural time for alligators to hunt. In an area where fishermen often clean their fish, he was attacked by an alligator between 8 to 11 feet long and was located after being underwater for over 25 minutes. The facts are that Brian Jeffrey Griffin was 12 years old and the animal involved was the American alligator. The tragedy happened on June 2003 at the oddly named Dead River in Lake County, Florida. He was swimming in a river occupied by alligators and the type of attack was a bite and drowning. Unfortunately, Brian did not survive. Barking up at number 6, the African wild dogs. It was meant to be a fun day out for the 2-year-old Maddox Durkish and his mother, Elizabeth. However, that day turned out to be one filled with tragedy after Elizabeth, trying to help her visually challenged son, lifted Maddox over the 4-foot safety rail to get a better look. It was at this point that Maddox struggled and fell over 10 feet to where the African wild dogs quickly attacked. Although the zoo staff arrived shortly after that, it was already too late to save Maddox. The facts of this tragedy were that Maddox Durkosh was 2 years old. The animal involved was the African wild dogs, which are also known as Lycaon pictus. It happened on November 2012 at the Pittsburgh Zoo in Pennsylvania. The reason for the death was that the mother lifted him over the safety rail for a better look and he fell. The wild dogs attacked him and unfortunately he did not survive. Hissing in at number 5, it's the Burmese python. The life of a 2-year-old toddler was cut short when her drug-addicted mother and her boyfriend failed to protect her from their starving python. Her mother, Jareen Hare, 19, and her boyfriend, Charles Darnell, 32, owned an 8.5-foot Burmese python. The snake was housed in an aquarium with nothing more than a quilt to hold it in, something that even a garter snake could have escaped from. By law, these snakes are to be kept in locked terrariums, a measure that could have prevented this tragedy. Their inability to properly house the snake was only one issue in that household. However, as both the mother and her boyfriend were known drug users and frequently neglected both Shauna and the snake, while both Hare and Darnell were convicted of aggravated manslaughter and sentenced to 12 years in prison, this is a heart-wrenching case of a parent choosing drugs and image over the life of their child. The facts of this unfortunate case is that Shauna Hare was 2 years old. The animal involved was the Alabina Burmese python named Gypsy. It happened on June 2009 at the Sumter County, Florida. This tragedy happened because the python was starved and improperly housed, and the type of attack was a bite and asphyxiation. Unfortunately, the person involved did not survive. Swimming up at number 4, it's the tiger shark. It's every surfer's nightmare. A shark coming up from under you and taking a bite. While statistically improbable, Bethany Hamilton, aged 13, was one of these cases. It was a beautiful day in Kai when Hamilton went surfing with a friend and her family. While laying on her board waiting for a wave, a tiger shark swam up and severed her left arm, just below the shoulder. While this incident was traumatic for everyone involved, Hamilton did survive and is now a professional surfer and has since been made famous through the movie Soul Surfer. The facts of this very fascinating case are that Bethany Hamilton was 13 years old at the time of the attack. The animal involved was the tiger shark. It happened in October 2013 at the Tunnels Beach, Kai, Hawaii. She had her arm in the water while lying on her surfboard, and the shark bite took it clean off, and luckily she did survive the whole ordeal. Roaring in at number 3 is the white Bengal tiger. One of the most famous cases of show animals attacking a human is from 2002. In March, the famous white Bengal tiger, Monte Carlo, attacked his owner and the trainer, Roy Horn, during a show at the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. While the bite to the neck did cause serious damage, it was not a fatal blow. Roy has insisted that the tiger was trying to pull him to safety as his high blood pressure had caused him to feel dizzy on stage. Monte Carlo was kept by Saja Fried and Roy at the secret garden habitat with their other animals until his death in 2014. The facts of this case are that Roy Horn was the victim. The animal involved was a white Bengal tiger, also known as the Panthera tigris. It happened in March 2002 at the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. The reason for the attack is currently unknown, and the type of attack itself was a bite to the neck and being dragged off stage during a live show. Fortunately for Roy, he did survive. Splashing in at number 2 is the orca. With over 5 million visitors annually, SeaWorld in Orland, Florida is one of the world's most famous aquariums in the world. Visitors would never have expected what they would bear witness to in February 2010. Tilikum is one of the world's largest orcas and is currently the largest in captivity, at 22.5 feet, which is around 6.9 meters, and over 12,000 pounds, which is 5,400 kilograms. This massive marine mammal is not a force to be underestimated. Despite the past that included the death of not one, but 2 people in the same pool as him, he was featured in the SeaWorld's Dine with Shamu show. This is where he grabbed a hold of his trainer, Dawn Bruncho, by the arm and dragged her under the water. She was dead by the time she was recovered by other SeaWorld staff members. Despite this, Tilikum returned to performing a year later in the spring of 2011. The fact of this case was that Dawn Bruncho was the victim. The involved animal was the killer whale, or rather the Orcanus orca, named Tilikum. It happened in February 2010 at the SeaWorld Orlando in Florida. The reason for the attack is unknown, but the victim was bitten and dragged underwater during a live performance. Unfortunately, Dawn did not survive the attack. Finishing off our list is the bull ray at number 1. There are very few nature documentary hosts as famous as Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. Known for getting up close and personal with some of the world's most dangerous animals, many people wondered if an untimely demise for Steve Irwin was not a case of if, but when. Unfortunately, this was the case while filming the Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Queensland, Australia, when he swam towards a stingray and was perceived as a threat. The stingray then proceeded to use the stinger on its tail to puncture his heart and lungs. Despite the crew's immediate medical attention, he perished by the time he reached the shore. The fact of this very famous case is that the victim is Steve Irwin. The animal involved was the bull ray. It happened in September 2006